And honestly, we still haven't recovered. Nothing hits harder than a shocking TV death. The kind that leaves you frozen, mouth open, remote in hand. Whether it's a hero gone too soon, or a twist you never saw coming, these moments haunt fans for years. Today, we're counting down 5 of the darkest, most gut-wrenching deaths in TV history. Fair warning, spoilers ahead. If you've ever cried over a fictional dad who wasn't technically your dad, you're not alone. HBO's The Last of Us became a cultural juggernaut for good reason. Heart-pounding action, devastating emotional stakes, and, at its center, a gruff yet lovable survivor named Joel Miller, played by internet daddy Pedro Pascal. Viewers instantly latched onto his protectiveness over Ellie, the witty, whip-smart teen he basically adopts after the world falls apart. Season 1 left fans breathless. Joel rescued Ellie from a shady hospital operation where doctors planned to kill her for a cure, by any means necessary. In the process, he shot his way out and killed the head surgeon. Morally gray, definitely. But Joel had his reasons, and we still loved him for it. So when Season 2 hit screens, no non-gamers, was ready for what came next. Because what came next was Joel's shocking, savage, and totally heartbreaking death. It all starts off pretty innocently. Joel and his brother Tommy are out on patrol when they save a young woman named Abby from a swarm of infected. Classic Joel move. Heroic, maybe even fatherly. Friends are holed up nearby in a ski lodge, so Joel and Tommy follow her. Big mistake. What they don't know is Abby isn't some helpless stranger. She's the daughter of that same surgeon Joel shot back in the hospital, and she's been hunting him for years. The moment they enter that lodge, Joel's fate is sealed. Abby shoots him in the leg, brutal but not fatal. Yet, she stares him down with cold fury. This isn't just revenge, it's deeply personal, and she's not letting him off easy. Joel doesn't beg. In fact, he almost seems to understand. It's like he knows he's about to pay for everything. And then it happens. The golf club. Yeah, you heard right, a golf club. Abby starts beating Joel with it. It's messy, it's violent, and it's mostly off camera. But that doesn't make it easier to watch. Ellie arrives mid-bludgeoning, screaming in horror as her protector, her dad, is murdered in front of her. The final blow comes not from the club, but from its broken handle, driven into Joel's neck. Quiet, brutal, final. And just like that, Joel Miller is gone. The reaction? Nuclear. Fans were furious. Some gamers were already prepared since the death was pulled nearly frame for frame from The Last of Us Part 2 video game. But the non-gamers? Pure shock. Twitter exploded. Memes flew. Some viewers even swore off the show altogether. Others, though, praised the scene's rawness and bold storytelling. Either way, nobody was okay. Executive producer Craig Mazin defended the decision. "We don't do these things to hurt people," he said. "We're with Ellie. She's experiencing grief and heartbreak, and that's what this story is about." And it's true. The Last of Us isn't just about surviving zombies, it's about surviving loss. Joel's death wasn't random. It was, as Malzahn put it, preordained. Even Pedro Pascal knew from day one that Joel wouldn't make it past Season 2. "When I talked to Pedro the first time," Mazin said, "I told him, this will happen. This story doesn't go on for 7 seasons with you in that spot." So yes, Joel had to die, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. We laughed with him, we cried with him, we watched him go from grumpy loner to fierce protector. He wasn't perfect, far from it, but he was ours. And losing him felt like losing a friend. Rest in peace, Joel. You deserved more than a golf club. Game of Thrones wasn't just a fantasy series. It was a full-blown cultural obsession. From fire-breathing dragons to political backstabbing that made DC look tame, the show had it all. But most of all, it had characters we rooted for, cried over, and sometimes shouted at through our screens. At the heart of it was Robb Stark, the young noble king in the North, who stepped up after his father, Ned Stark, was famously beheaded. We thought Robb would avenge his dad, take the throne, and restore some order to Westeros. We were so wrong. Robb had it all going for him: charisma, strategy, a badass direwolf, and a loyal army. But if Game of Thrones taught us anything, it's that honor doesn't guarantee survival. And love? Well, that's a death sentence. Robb fell in love with Talisa, a battlefield healer, not exactly the arranged bride promised to his ally, Walder Frey. Breaking that deal was like RSVPing to your own funeral. To patch things up, Robb offered his uncle up as a backup groom. Walder Frey accepted, on the outside, but inside, he was plotting one of the most cold-blooded betrayals in TV history. Enter The Red Wedding, the 9th episode of Season 3, chillingly titled The Reigns of Castamere. If you've seen the show, you know the 9th episode always hits like a truck. This one, it hit like a semi on fire. What started as a joyful wedding feast turned into a nightmare dipped in blood. The Freys locked the doors, cued their ominous house anthem, and all hell broke loose. Robb's pregnant wife, Talisa, was stabbed repeatedly in the stomach. Yes, you read that right. It was brutal, personal, and impossible to watch without feeling nauseous. Then came Robb, shot full of arrows like some twisted medieval pincushion. And finally, Catelyn Stark, Robb's mother and the show's original iron-willed matriarch, screaming in horror before her own throat was slit. The massacre was total. Robb's entire army, gone. Legacy, wiped out. Fans didn't just cry, they howled. Social media exploded with disbelief, reaction videos of viewers screaming, crying, or just sitting in stunned silence went viral. The betrayal felt personal, like we had just lost family. And that was the point. The show didn't offer any final words, no slow-motion goodbye, not even a heroic last stand. Just horror, just silence, like a punch in the gut, and then another. Producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss explained that this moment was why they even took on the show in the first place. In an interview, they said the lack of a death speech or any closure made the scene more real and shocking. "You're deprived of even that satisfaction," Benioff said. "It's just like a kidney punch." And yeah, they nailed that feeling. George R.R. Martin, the author who dreamed up this soul crusher, said he based it on real-life betrayals from Scottish history, like the Black Dinner. He admitted that while he made up a lot, history had already done the heavy lifting when it came to savage plot twists. Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark, insisted they not change a thing, even though it meant killing off his own character. He believed the total wipeout of Robb, Talisa, and their unborn child was necessary to make the tragedy complete. "There's something more tragic about having it all be cut short," he said. And fans? We were left shattered. Because Robb wasn't just a character, he was hope. He was justice. He was the good guy in a cruel world, and watching him die like that felt like losing a friend. 13 years after it was written, The Red Wedding still stands as one of the darkest, most unforgettable deaths in television history. And man, what a shame it had to end that way. Let's be honest, Succession isn't the kind of show you just watch. You devour it. It's HBO at its sharpest, a twisted tale of wealth, power, and family dysfunction that feels part Greek tragedy, part billionaire soap opera. At the center of it all, Logan Roy, the brutal, brilliant, terrifying patriarch you love to hate and kind of fear. Played masterfully by Brian Cox, Logan was more than a CEO. He was a force of nature. And from episode 1, we knew something was up. He suffered a stroke right out of the gate. So sure, maybe we all saw it coming, but not like this. It happened in season 4, episode 3, an episode misleadingly titled Connor's Wedding. While the Roy siblings gathered on a yacht to celebrate their brother's cringy, awkward nuptials, Logan was up in the air, literally flying to Sweden to try to rescue a failing business deal. And then he collapsed. No big buildup, no last words, just a sudden, invisible moment that changed everything. The brilliance? We barely see Logan at all. Most of the episode unfolds in frantic, muffled phone calls between Tom, Shiv's estranged husband, stuck on the plane. He's trying to explain what's happening. They're trying to understand. Viewers are stuck in the same helpless fog. Is he dead? Is this real? No dramatic music, no fade to black, just panicked voices, shaky hands, and an overwhelming sense of what the hell is happening. There's one haunting image, the phone pressed against Logan's lifeless ear, while CPR is being performed. Shiv's voice trembles through the line, trying to reach her father, even though deep down she knows he's already gone. That shot? It's a Frankenstein composite, Logan's head filmed separately, stitched onto a stunt double's chest being compressed. Cold, clinical, devastating. And the real gut punch? There's no closure, no tearful bedside scene. No, I've always loved you moment. Just the awful modern reality of a loved one dying while you're not there. And all you get is a choppy phone call with bad reception. Fans were stunned. Twitter exploded. Succession Nation went into collective mourning. Did that just happen? They asked. It was like killing off Tony Soprano mid-season, but more sudden. Critics called it one of TV's boldest moves, and viewers couldn't stop crying, even if they weren't sure why. After all, Logan was awful, right? But damn, we felt that loss. Director Mark Mylod revealed that Logan's death had been planned for years. The goal? To make it feel messy, inconvenient, and real. Great drama out of mundanity, as he put it. And it worked. Every camera angle was chosen to make us feel like voyeurs, trapped in the grief, unable to look away. And Brian Cox? He didn't even lie down for most of it. The guy had earned his rest. In the end, Logan Roy's death was so powerful, not because it was loud, but because it was silent, unexpected, undignified, raw, and fans were left grieving not just the character, but the end of a chaotic relationship we'd all become weirdly invested in. Love him or loathe him, Logan Roy was family, and when he died, it felt like we lost a piece of TV history. If you've ever watched Better Call Saul, you know it's more than just a prequel. It's a slow-burn masterpiece of morality, identity, and, well, chaos. The show follows Jimmy McGill, a scrappy lawyer with a good heart and questionable ethics, as he spirals into becoming Saul Goodman, the slick criminal attorney we met in Breaking Bad. And while the show gave us drug cartels, scams, and courtroom drama, no one expected one of its most jaw-dropping deaths to come not from the cartel, but from a man in a tailored suit with a Bluetooth headset, Howard Hamlin. Now, Howard wasn't exactly fan-favorite material from the start. He was the guy who looked like he ran a yoga studio in the Hamptons and had probably never jaywalked in his life. Still, over time, viewers grew to understand him, not as a villain, but as a man doing his best within a broken system. While Jimmy and Kim, the show's ride-or-die couple, slid deeper into morally gray schemes, Howard stayed polished, professional, and maybe a little smug, but basically decent. Season 6 set Howard up as the mark for Jimmy and Kim's most elaborate scam yet. The plan: ruin Howard's reputation so a multi-million-dollar class-action lawsuit would settle early, giving them a massive payday. Fake drug use, doctored photos, and double-crossing detectives. The whole con was deliciously cruel, and somehow Howard took the hits with grace until he didn't. In the mid-season finale titled Plan and Execution, Howard storms into Jimmy and Kim's apartment, furious. He finally connects the dots and calls them out. "You're soulless," he says, a haunting accusation that felt like a mirror to the audience too. It's peak drama. The music stills, the lighting tightens. It feels like a confrontation 7 seasons in the making. And then, everything shatters. without warning, Lalo Salamanca, a literal cartel psychopath who's been crawling through sewers and plotting a massacre, steps out of the shadows like a horror movie villain. Howard, completely unaware of Lalo or his world, looks confused. "Who's this guy?" he asks. Bang. Just like that, Howard Hamlin's brains hit the wall. It's not just shocking, it's disturbing. Lalo, with zero emotion, shoots Howard in the head like swatting a fly. No build-up, no threats. 1 second, Howard is mid-sentence. The next, he's lifeless on the floor. Eyes still open. The camera lingers just long enough for the horror to settle in. It's the moment Jimmy's two worlds, the legal and the lethal, violently collide. Fans were stunned. Reddit exploded. Memes of Howard as a fallen angel in a suit trended. People who once joked about Howard's perfect hair suddenly mourned him like a fallen brother. Some even rewatched early seasons just to appreciate him more. Many agreed Howard didn't deserve this. He wasn't a saint, but he was certainly not cartel execution material. Actor Patrick Fabian, who played Howard, said he knew the end was coming before filming, but reading the script still shocked him. "It felt like graduating high school," he said. "But if you're gonna get shot, getting shot by Tony Dalton with all that charisma, not a bad way to go." Director Tom Schnauz explained the death had to happen. It was the cost of Jimmy and Kim's descent, proof that their cons have deadly consequences. And for Howard, who had spent years cleaning up after other people's messes, his death was the ultimate injustice. A man who lived by the rules, taken out by people who didn't even know his name. Howard's final scene became iconic not for violence, but for tragedy. A man who never got the credit he deserved, dying in a room full of people who had already written him off. And that, more than the gunshot, is what made fans grieve. He wasn't perfect, but man, he didn't deserve to go out like that. AMC's The Walking Dead wasn't just a zombie show, it was a cultural phenomenon. For years, it had us glued to our screens, biting our nails as ragtag survivors braved the apocalypse. And one of the characters we held closest, Glenn Rhee. Played by Stephen Yeun, Glenn was the heart of the group. Clever, kind, and always willing to risk his life for others. From the moment he saved Rick Grimes in Atlanta in Season 1, fans rooted for him like he was family. He wasn't a brooding anti-hero or a muscle-bound warrior. He was an everyday guy who grew into a total badass. Whether it was slipping through hordes of walkers or falling in love with Maggie, Glenn became the show's moral compass. His relationship with Maggie was a rare beam of hope in the show's bleak world. So, yeah, when the Season 7 premiere hit, viewers were not prepared. The series had been teasing the arrival of its most sadistic villain yet, Negan. Played with devilish charm by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan came wrapped in menace, sarcasm, and a barbed wire baseball bat named Lucille. And when Season 6 ended with him raising that bat and smashing someone's skull, cut to black, we spent months agonizing over who got the fatal blow. Then came the infamous Season 7 premiere. We watched, horrified, as Negan chose Abraham first. Brutal, yes. Devastating, absolutely. But then, just when we thought the carnage was over, Daryl lashed out in anger. And that was the tipping point. Negan turned, grinned, and drove Lucille into Glenn's skull. What followed was one of the most graphic and disturbing scenes in TV history. Blood sprayed. Glenn's eye bulged. He tried to speak, gurgling, "Maggie, I'll find you," before the final, sickening blows. Fans were stunned. This wasn't just a death, it was a massacre. And it wasn't just one of our favorites dying. It was watching someone we knew, someone we'd grown with, be destroyed in the most dehumanizing way. The backlash was instant. Social media exploded. Viewers were heartbroken, furious. Some even turned off the show entirely. Ratings for the second episode dropped sharply. Many accused the show of going too far, crossing the line between gritty realism and trauma porn. Glenn's death didn't just hurt, it shattered people. So, why did they do it? According to The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman, Glenn's fate was sealed long before the cameras rolled. In the comic book, issue 100, Glenn dies at the hands of Negan in the same horrific way. Kirkman said there was just too much emotional fallout tied to that moment. Rick's rage, Maggie's journey, Negan's introduction. It all hinged on that death. Pulling the thread on this sweater just pulls too many things apart, he admitted. Still, this one hit differently for Kirkman. Glenn's was the first major comic death written after the character had been cast for TV. It makes things a little weird and more difficult, he confessed. But I do find myself very hesitant to do character deaths on the show these days. You miss these people. And we did. Fans mourned Glenn like he was real. His kindness, his bravery, his goofy smile, it all made him unforgettable. Losing him wasn't just a plot twist, it was a heartbreak. And honestly, we still haven't recovered.